All right, how's it going, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I wish I knew before taking CBSE. If you're a Term 5 student and you're about to leave the island, I'm sure you're aware that the dynamic completely changes once you're off the island. You have to be much more independent, and you don't have that same support that you did when you're on the island. So you kind of have to figure some things out on your own. And these are just a couple things that I wish that I knew before I started my dedicated period, and hopefully it can help you guys out. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is exam layout. And kind of what this means is that you have CBSE and you have step one as well. We're going to talk about kind of both of these things. It's during your dedicated period. And for your exam layout, it's important to know what CBSE and step one, like how many questions there are, what's the breaks, all that stuff. So I kind of want to talk about that first. So first of all, CBSE is 200 questions. And step one is 280 questions. Now, these 200 questions in CBSE, they're split up into 4 blocks of 50 questions, and you take 100 questions at a time. So kind of what that means is that you're going to take 50 questions in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Then you don't get a break right after this one. You take another 50 questions in an hour and 15 minutes. Then you get a break, and then you do it again. So then you do the 50 and a 50 again. So you do 100 questions pretty much, then a break, then another 100 questions. Step one's a little bit different because obviously there's more questions, and instead of taking 4 blocks of 50 in CBSE, now you're going to be taking 7 blocks of 40. And each of these blocks is going to be 60 minutes. Now the way that the breaks work is that you kind of decide when you want to take your breaks. You have about 45 minutes of breaks, and you can split it up however way you want in between these. So you can take one block and then take like a 10-minute break, and then take your second block, and then take like a 5-minute break. So it's important to figure this out before you actually go to your exam to kind of see what type of like break schedule is going to work best for you. Keep in mind as well, this is an important thing, is that in the beginning you have a 15-minute tutorial that you can kind of skip through. And if you finish skipping through quickly, this 15 minutes gets added to your 45-minute break time. So you're actually going to get a 1 hour total break time that you can split up in between the blocks as you wish. So you're going to take one block, for example, and then it's going to ask you to pause, and you can start your break. And then as soon as you start your break, the time is going to, like for your break is going to start. And then when you come back, it'll stop that time. And then it's just going to continue along when you're finished every single block. So that's why it's a little bit different, is that in this case, for CBSE, you do 50 and 50, then you get a 15-minute break, then you go into the next 50 and 50. You only have one break. It's much quicker. The CBSE exam time, like total sitting down, is I think 5 hours or something. But step one, including the breaks, it's definitely closer to 8 hours. So that's important to keep in mind. All right, then the next thing that I want to talk about is CBSE scheduling. And if I could sum it up in one phrase, is to take it last. What this means is that we know SGU is going to give you a window for taking CBSE, and let's say it's going to be June 16th to June 29th, and then the results are going to come out, let's say, July 1st. It doesn't matter if you're a student taking it on the 16th or the 29th, your results are still going to come out together on July 1st. So let's compare it. Let's say if you're a student taking it on June 28th or 29th near the end, then you have to wait, I think it's like a weekend or a couple days until you get your results. Obviously, the waiting period is difficult, but 2 days of waiting is better than a student taking it near the beginning of the period and then having to wait over 2 weeks, really, for your results to come out. So it doesn't matter if you take it first. Obviously, you get more time to study as well if you take it near the end, but it's definitely better to wait 2 days for your results compared to having to wait anxiously for 2 weeks for your results. So for CBSE, I highly recommend taking it last. All right, and the counterpart to taking your CBSE last is that I want you to take your step one first. This is important, and there's a couple reasons why. The first one is, since you took your CBSE and you passed, Now all the content is fresh in your mind. You don't want to delay and start forgetting content. You want to keep everything fresh in your mind so then you can take your step one quickly and get it out of the way as well. The second reason is because when it comes to scheduling, it gets a little bit tricky because it takes longer time to schedule your step one than it takes to schedule your CBSE. The reason I don't want to get into it too deep is that you have to register with the company, then the company is going to reach out to the school, and then the school is going to reach out back to the company, and then the company is going to send you the permit. It takes some time. So what you want to do is, even before you get your CBSE results, this is really, really important, guys, is before you get your CBSE results, if you're a student and you feel like you're going to pass, I really, really want you to, before you get your CBSE results, so let's say you get your results on July 1st, before you even take CBSE, sometime like late June, I want you to go online and start the process to take your step one, to register. And that involves paying the exam fee and getting the process initiated. The reason why is because it takes some time for this to happen. You don't want to take your CBSE exam, find out you passed, and then start the process, because the process is going to take at least a week, and then you're going to have to wait another week to actually register for the exam, when you can really, if you do it this way and pay your step one exam fee and get the registration started before you get your CBSE results, you can really save time and you can take your step one exam really 1 week after you get your CBSE results, in comparison to taking it 2 to 3 weeks later, which once again is going to cause you to start forgetting stuff, and it's going to extend the period longer than it already is. So keep that in mind, please. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is when you take your step one and your CBSE, these exams, you're going to be taking them most likely at the exact same exam testing center. Now, there's another trick that I just learned recently, is that once you pass your CBSE and you're ready to take your step one and you've scheduled your step one, you can actually take the free 120, which is a practice exam that's online. You can take the free 120 at the exam center before you take your step one. So that's really, really big, because you want to get used to the exam environment as much as you can. And I think you have to pay a little bit, but if you do this, once you take your step one and just search online, take a practice step one at the exam center, it'll take you to a link that you can register at the Pro Metric Testing Center and take it at the testing site. Now, this is big, because if you're taking your step one, you want to get used to the environment as much as you can. The CBSE, that's the first way that you're going to get your first experience at the testing center. But once again, you can take the free 120 at the testing center too. This is something that SGU never really told us, and you don't really find out too much, but I think every single practice that you can take at the testing center will get you so comfortable there that it feels like you're just taking it at home. I think by the third time that I went there, I knew the people that worked at the testing center, and I felt so much more comfortable compared to the very first time that I went taking CBSE. And then the free 120 helped as well. But yeah, by the time I got to taking my step one, it was I knew the exact process, the registration, the check-in, all that stuff. All right, now the final advice that I want to give is to do not take time off. So this means that once you leave the island, let's say you're leaving the island around May 16th, and you're going to get home on the 17th, maybe you want to take 1 day off just to unpack and just maybe spend time with just family. By the 18th, you should already get started with studying. Don't take more than 1 to 2 days off, because at some point during your dedicated, we know dedicated, it's very quick. You're going to fly by this time. You're going to have a couple days in the middle, maybe the second or third week, where you'd have to take some time off. And it's better to do it then than to take, let's say, a week off near the beginning, just to relax and say that you want to reset. But in reality, you really want to use every single day to the best of your ability. So don't go into dedicated late. Start as soon as you can, and it'll pay off in the end. Best of luck, guys.